Pablo, just your thoughts on this game, what you saw over especially the 2 goals early, but then the 2 goals late.
Yeah, I think they're a team that took advantage of fortuitous moments, and obviously with Son, he's a killer, and give him an inch, and he did what he did. But I think from our standpoint, I think we just got to be a bit more physical, especially on the last 2. Right? We have plays under control. We have the decisions that we make in those moments. There's a phrase that we use: it's either the ball or the man, but it's never neither. And on both of those plays, it was neither, right? And so, in a game like this, I think at 2-1, we got back into the game. And again, I think overall we played the way we wanted to play. We from the way we dictated the game to the chances that we created. The only thing eluding us was scoring the goals that we created. I think we created 5 big chances. You're not going to win many games if you don't score at least half of those. But I think the effort, the way we wanted to get after them and dictate the game, I think we did a fantastic job. However, the way we play, we're going to be isolated at times, and whoever is isolated has to make a play. And again, a foul in their half of the field is never an issue, and we just didn't execute on those last 2 goals.
It looked like they were defending with a back 5 because they got the early goal. Why not? So if they needed to, they were defending with a back 5, and then the middle of the park was really congested. It looked like there was a little space, maybe 25, 30 yards out for an outside back to deliver ball in. Yedlin sent in a couple dangerous balls, but is that the way they're defending? Is that where you got to attack from?
That was what we talked about at halftime, getting Ojeda to pop into that pocket and Dre kind of releasing them on the right side. And I think we created some really good stuff in the second half when Ojeda was in there. Obviously his positioning and his decision making, I think, led to that to the goal. You're spot on. That's the space that it's always a space when you play a 3 up front and two in the middle and a back 5. The spaces in between, the pivots are always going to be the home run spaces. So again, and then missing a PK doesn't help and changes momentum as well. So again, but again, the way we wanted to attack the game, everything but the moments.
I know you let the players decide, but standing over the sideline, did you want Luna to take the penalty? He has been in a couple situations earlier this year.
Yeah, no, Juan's been really, really good at penalties, and he does what he did tonight, which is sit the goalkeeper down. The only thing he needed to do was hit it a half an inch to the left, and it was a goal. So I wanted the person that's most confident to take the PK, and I think that's why I think Luna handed Juan the ball.
You had 12 corners tonight. What has to be done better to take advantage of all those set-piece opportunities?
Yeah, I think for me, set pieces are always the delivery, which I thought was excellent from Alex tonight. I thought it was really, really good. And then you just gotta put your head in a position to where it's going to get knocked off, because there's a guy defending you, and they have a bit of a zonal setup as well, and so it's coming in fast, and you just got to be first to the ball. And tonight there's a couple half chances in there. But I think it was probably our best delivery of the ball in corners all year. And again, it's just like in basketball, right? You got to use picks. You got to have this like nous in those moments, because they're going to adapt to whatever they do. But setting picks for one another and just beating the guy to the spot, and then hoping that the ball is delivered in a good spot. So those are things that we have to do better. But I thought the delivery was excellent tonight.
What explanation did you get on the red card? You were talking to the fourth official.
That he said he didn't see it, but they said that he headbutted the guy, and I said I saw it. It's not a headbutt. It's a shoulder. But so that's the explanation.
You're big on the psychological part of the game. To lose 4-1 at home and have to go play the same team Sunday in a building where you've had some success but not a lot without Olatunji now, how do you address that with the guys so they go in there with some confidence? Because if you don't go in there with confidence, it could be a long game.
Yeah. So what I said to the guys is, I'm really, really proud of the way we played, and you executed the tactics. We're going to do it again. But we're going to score goals. And we're going to foul at midfield when we're isolated 1v1. We're not going to give up. The last 2 goals for me is unacceptable. Unacceptable, right? That's just not, that is not okay. You don't work as hard as you do and create as much as you do and defend as hard as you do against two of the best attacking players in this league, and then that's how the game ends up 4-1. So for me, it's do the same thing again, but run harder, kick harder, fight harder, and score your goals.
There were 4 hat tricks on the weekend. There's league record goals, and now you got another hat trick here. The spending's going up in this league. Is the club going to stick with winning through development at a time when the spending is just accelerating? How do you discuss that as you try to plan long term?
Yeah, DJ, I think that's a conversation with someone else. My job is to do the best I can with the players that are in the building, and that's where all my attention and energy goes to is the guys in the locker room.
Thanks.
Caleb?
Yeah, Gozo's goal, pretty incredible. Once again, it seems like he just keeps adding something every week to his game. Thoughts on his performance tonight?
I thought Gozo, again, I think he's a player that's playing with a lot of confidence, and I think he's got a killer mindset. And a lot of times he takes shots that he probably shouldn't be taking, but when you have that type of confidence, you're saying, okay. And the goal he scored tonight was a wonder goal, and I think it's just. But he's doing all the little things right. The way he's pressing, the way he's getting after the ball, the way he's linking up. He's making better and better decisions with each game. And against a team like this, which is, they're sitting in a low block, crowd in the box, and to be able to come up with a play as he did, I mean, speaks volumes of his growth really in the last 6 months, which is pretty amazing.
And then what about Son's game do you think has made his adjustment to MLS so successful so quickly?
I think the reason why a lot of attacking players that come to our league have a lot of success is because teams invest a lot of their money in their attacking part of the field, right? And again, I think when you have a guy that's been shredding the Premier League for many years, we're not the Premier League, right? And so the looks that he gets are probably much better than he'd get in the Prem. However. He still has it, and I think that's why he is the player he is and brings the type of respect that he brings, because he's a player that in front of goal he's lethal, left, right, decision making, and again, it wasn't that they had a lot of the ball, but when they do, when you have Bouanga and Son, it's a tough ask. But my challenges to the group is like I feel like we have a great group of defenders, and my challenge to them is. If your aspirations are to go to Europe, these are 2 guys to lock horns with, but really lock horns, and I think for the most part they did a really good job. But those last 2 goals for me will leave me, probably give me a sleepless night tonight, because again, those are just such fundamental football plays that we allowed their quality to show because of our the decisions that we made.
Pablo, how much of tonight's loss was about execution versus that defensive breakdown?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think the game's a game of momentum, and I think we, again, like I said, when you don't score the chances that you create, you're leaving the door open. The first goal they scored was kind of a broken play. I feel like throw in, and it came inside, and then it went back out. The second goal, again, was a transition, and we didn't get close to Son. So, against these guys, you have to almost be perfect defensively. And the difficulty is the way we play is pretty risky defensively. But to change our identity to play against an LAFC team, then we're not going to create the 5 big chances that we created tonight. So it's really, that's why I'm saying, doubling down. We're going there and we're doing the same thing, and we're going to get after the ball. And I don't care if it's away from home, and I don't care who they have on the field. Until we believe that we are better than what we're currently playing, then we'll never be a great team in this league. And I want to be a great team. I don't want to. I'm stressing to these guys that to be great, you have to be vulnerable. And when you're playing against great teams, you have to put yourself out there, and you have to learn. And you got to jump in the deep end, not knowing how to swim, and you got to survive, right? So for me, it's beyond this one game. And so what we're taking in this game is like, here are the things that we did fantastic. And I'm going to look at the tape, and I'm going to tell you there's going to be 4 moments that were so poor in one play and that cost us the game. But it wasn't the overarching way we defended. It wasn't the overarching way we attacked. It wasn't the chances we created. It was 4 moments without the ball where we didn't make plays.
And then in Sunday's game, it will be Gozo's last game before he heads to the U20 World Cup. How big of an influence is he, and have you thought about who's going to fill in that spot?
We've been talking about it, and it's hard to replace. It's going to be crazy to say. It's hard to replace a young Gozo, given what he's been able to do with this group. You know, I think his energy, his quality on the ball, the way he defends, his confidence. I mean, those are big shoes to fill for a young guy. So we're, hopefully he has a fantastic performance with a great result for the group before he heads off to the championships.
Pablo, la pregunta es cómo enfrentar el siguiente partido ahora. Esa es la inquietud que probablemente tienen todos.
Lo vamos a enfrentar tácticamente, lo mismo que hicimos hoy. Vamos a ir a ganar el partido. Tenemos que mejorar 4 momentos defensivamente, pero yo creo que la mayoría del partido defensivamente cumplimos lo que queríamos cumplir. Ofensivamente creamos 5 grandes oportunidades, pero fallamos en esos momentos. O sea, si cambiamos cómo queremos defender, nunca vamos a crear las mismas oportunidades. Porque lo que tienen ellos son jugadores que son muy buenos en la contragolpe. Nosotros necesitamos 11 jugadores enfrente del arco, combinaciones, centros para meter gol. Así, quiero ir con la misma mentalidad, pero queremos estar más fijo en los momentos clave defensivamente.
Tú lo has dicho, se falla en la defensa y a la vez en el ataque. Y tal vez el problema más grande que tenemos es el ataque. ¿Sientes que es así, convertir los goles?
Yo creo que todavía hace muy poco tiempo que el Juan y el Víctor están con el grupo, y eso toma con nuestro equipo un poco más tiempo. O sea, lo que estoy mirando me gusta demasiado, las combinaciones central, pero todavía entender los compañeros va a tomar un poco de tiempo. Yo creo que tenemos los jugadores, ahora necesitamos seguir entrenando, poniendo los 4 juntos para que sigan creciendo esa relación con los compañeros. Pero yo creo que, mira, y lo digo porque lo veo en los entrenamientos, el Víctor marca goles, el Juan marca goles, el Diego marca goles y el Gozo marca goles. La única diferencia es cuando se aprenden las luces, es otro tipo de fútbol, y eso toma un poco de tiempo.
Hey, Pablo. For my question, I'd like to provide a bit of context, so this might be a bit long-winded of a question, but there is a question at the end for you, I promise. At last Saturday's game, a fan in attendance was wearing a hat that violated the MLS fan code of conduct, as it had a political slogan on it. He was asked by security staff to remove the hat or leave, and he chose to leave. This person then went on social media to complain about this, garnering attention and responses from both sides of the political spectrum. From those he disagreed with, he replied to them with racist and homophobic slurs, issued death threats, and has in the past even supported bounties on killing transgender individuals. It was after all of this was done, the RSL then went on social media and issued a statement apologizing to this individual and inviting them back to the stadium. Even after this invitation was extended, RSL later posted about celebrating Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month, which this person replied to that post with, "Deport them all." He has said this specifically about players on the team before as well. I know there are some players on the team that are on social media and have seen these things being said by this quote fan as well as others. So with that context, I'd like to ask 2 things. What is your role as a coach when players experience or see hate speech on social media? And what would you say to fans as a representative of the team?
So I'd start by saying that we have a very tight group, and we have a leadership group, and for as simple as so-and-so's cat passed away, maybe we need to put an arm around him. They come to me with this. not one player has come to me with anything regarding what you just described. And so I think I am always here to support the players, and believe me, that there's issues that go the spectrum. I mean, it could be from the most mundane to the craziest. I've experienced it as a coach, and the role that I play is to support the players. That's my role, and it's going to be different players need different things, and in terms of, I think I'll just say that I think the club has handled the situation the best they can, given all the information, and I don't know half of this, right? And I think the club is doing a good job navigating this whole thing. I think it's a huge thing, and I think the one thing about any divisions is that soccer is supposed to bring people together. Like, soccer is the one game that has stopped wars, that has brought people together, and my hopes is that we can see the goodness and the positivity that we have around us, as opposed to always focusing on the negative things. There is so much beauty in this world. There is so much beauty in this world. But if you're always looking for the negative, you'll never see the beauty in this world. And so I just hope that we as a club, we as a league, can continue to bring out the beauty in this world, the beauty in the fans, and how important the fans are to make this game this special game that it is. Unlike any other sport, this is the most integrated, most diverse, most watched, most lived, most felt with a heart game that you can have on this planet, all over the world. And so my hope is that we continue to find the beauty in this game, find the beauty in our club, find the beauty in our league, to make this to make this world a better place.
Thank you. As a follow-up, I do have a question. In the first half, the South End was notably a lot more quiet than they usually are. That was in response to the team's invitation for this person to come back and apology. Is that something that the South End, the supporters group, being silent, is that something that you notice as a coach, or the players notice? Do you think it affects them mentally in any way?
To be honest, I didn't notice it, man. I didn't notice it, and I think everyone has the right to express themselves on all the millions of platforms that exist on this planet. It didn't affect the group, but again, I think when you understand that everyone is trying to do the best they can in a very difficult environment, you will start to see goodness. It's not easy for anybody. It's not easy for anybody. But if you're only looking at the bad things in life, you will live. It's terrible. And so the great thing is they express themselves the way they wanted to express them. But I'll tell you what, in the second half, they're loud and proud, and I couldn't be more proud to be a part of this club with those guys cheering.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Pablo.
Thanks.
Brian Ojeda's next. Willie, do you want to lead us off?
Brian, primero felicidades por tu convocatoria a la selección de Paraguay. Felicidades por la clasificación al Mundial. Ojalá te podamos ver en el Mundial.
Muchas gracias.
No
Sí,
me
eso-
gustó que ganaras
Pero-
Perú en mi país después de tantos años, pero bueno, es otra cosa. Te atreviste a dar otro zapatazo fuerte y casi metes un gol. Te estás acostumbrando ya a tomar la pelota y a patear más seguido.
Sí, sí. La verdad, muchas gracias por las felicitaciones. Sí, estoy intentando pegarle más al arco. Ya, como se notó en muchos partidos, estoy intentando pegarle más. intentando hacer más goles, que al equipo le falta obviamente goles también. Y me estoy sintiendo cómodo pegándole más al arco y me hace ver mejor como mediocampista, ¿no?
¿Qué sientes que le faltó al equipo hoy para que podamos tener un mejor resultado o no terminar con esa cantidad de goles?
Yo creo que tuvimos ocasiones que no aprovechamos, pero el equipo estaba bien, el 2-1 estaba bien. Luego ya como te lleva a querer empatar, a querer que tengamos más oportunidades y todo eso te lleva a que el equipo vaya más para adelante y que obviamente te equivoques a la hora de hacer eso. Obviamente hay que mejorar eso, definitivamente hay que mejorar, porque estando perdiendo 2-1, después perder 4-1 es muy diferente, ¿no? Obviamente duele mucho para mí, realmente perder 2-1 creo que y jugando bien creo que estaría mejor, pero 4-1 es mucho, entonces hay que mejorar.
¿Cómo está el ambiente de tus compañeros? ¿Hablaron algo? ¿Ya están mirando el otro partido o solamente terminaron y hablar después de esto?
No, obviamente se habló después del partido. Obviamente vamos a hablar en el siguiente partido que venga, que contra ellos otra vez. Obviamente las cosas que hay que mejorar y que hacer lo que hicimos bien, seguir haciendo, porque realmente los 2 goles que nos metieron fueron muy rápidos. El primero fue muy rápido también. Pero bueno, como te digo, hay que mejorar, hay que saber los momentos que hay que tomar en estas situaciones y nada, pensar en el siguiente partido que hay que ganar.
Brian, esta noche, ¿qué hicieron el LAFC para que ustedes no les gustaba? ¿Cómo juegan ellos que ¿me entiendes? Frustrando
Sí.
este equipo, porque se ve que el equipo está frustrado aquí.
Claro, yo creo que el equipo estaba muy bien, digo por nosotros, pero Los Ángeles metió el primer gol y ahí nos descolocamos un poco, pero yo creo que ellos tuvieron 2 oportunidades y embocaron las 2. Y nosotros obviamente tuvimos mucho, pero no pudimos embocar. Pero el fútbol es así. Hay en una que Luna no emboca, se va y no entra en nosotros. El fútbol es así. Tenemos que aprovechar las oportunidades que tenemos y nada más eso. El fútbol.
Un poco de suerte en la semana que viene.
Sí, ojalá no tengamos un poco de suerte, ¿no?
Ojeda, los partidos que faltan, cada punto es clave para poder asegurarse, porque ahorita están en el play-in, pero si pierden puntos a lo mejor pueden bajar en la tabla. Entonces ahorita, ¿cómo se mantienen con esa mentalidad clave de ir partido tras partido y no pensar en lo largo de que tenemos que ganar los 6 partidos que vienen, no podemos perder un punto o algo?
No, vamos partido tras partido. Yo creo que estamos haciendo bien las cosas. Obviamente este partido no nos fue bien, capaz no tuvimos suerte también, como dije, pero es partido tras partido y analizando, ya pensando en el siguiente partido con buena mentalidad siempre de querer ganar y entrar a los playoffs, que es lo que estamos buscando, ¿no? Y yo creo en este grupo porque hay muchos jugadores con mucha calidad y no puede ser que perdamos así. No puede ser.
Brian, haciendo un análisis un poco de lo que ha sido la temporada y en comparación a lo que fue la pasada, inclusive la del 2023, no se va a llegar a los 50 puntos, lamentablemente. Pero ¿qué sientes que ha crecido el equipo? Porque el año pasado quedaron terceros en la conferencia oeste, por ejemplo. Se lograron 57, 59 puntos. Esta vez no se va a llegar siquiera a la cifra de los 50. ¿Qué ha pasado? ¿Qué análisis das a lo largo de la campaña? ¿Qué ha faltado esta que ya tuvieron en las dos anteriores?
Como dije, bueno, realmente este año cambió mucho el equipo, cambió muchos jugadores. Y yo creo que también eso afectó al grupo para lo que hicimos años atrás, ¿no? Obviamente tratar de mejorar cada día y obviamente el equipo está compenetrado ahora en este momento, pero capaz que antes no lo estaba. Digo cuando vinieron más nuevos, jugadores más nuevos, y ahora mismo creo que el equipo está agarrando ritmo. Obviamente, como te dije, obviamente no fue mal hoy, pero yo creo que el equipo está bien, está unido, y yo creo que tenemos que seguir así. Seguir jugando así. Obviamente no vamos a llegar a los puntos que queríamos, pero tenemos que entrar a los playoffs y ¿por qué no salir campeón en los playoffs? Porque como tú dices, el año pasado terminamos tercero, pero ¿dónde fuimos? No fuimos lejos. Entonces quizás ahora entremos a los playoffs y que quizás lleguemos a salir campeón. ¿Por qué no?
Anybody else for Brian? Okay. Gracias, Brian.
Sí.
What's up, DeAndre? I think I saw you sharing some words with Son there after the match. Did you guys cross paths at all at Tottenham?
Yeah, we did. He was super short time, but great guy. Super humble. So just asked him how the U.S. was so far, and he said it's great, and happy that he's in the league. Obviously not against us, but no, happy that he's doing well, and he's definitely a guy that deserves it. So.
And then what about his game do you think has made the move to MLS so successful so quickly?
He's a super dynamic player. He can beat you a lot of different ways. He can beat you on the dribble. He can beat you in behind. He's obviously very experienced, so he's pretty smart with his movement. Really difficult player to play against. There's a reason that he's played at the highest level for so long.
Hey, DeAndre. I wanted to ask you, in the first half, there was a fan protest in the South End where they were silent for the first half. I just wanted to know, from a player's perspective, is the supporter section just being silent, is that something that affects you guys? Is that something you notice, or how does it affect you guys on the field?
Honestly, I didn't notice. Kind of trying to be locked in on the game, but obviously we want the fan support. I can't sit here and lie and say we don't. So we want the fan support, but obviously everybody's kind of entitled to their opinion. So I'm not going to sit here and tell grown people what they can and can't do.
Thank you.
In an odd bit of scheduling, you got to play these guys again in 4 days. How do you get the mindset right after a 4-1 loss and knowing that Victor's out with a red card, so you can go down there and compete with them in their place?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting one. Personally for me, I actually like that we're playing them again so quickly. For the fact that we can really learn from this game. I think there's a lot to take away from this game. Obviously, on the negative side, and still on the positive side. They were still positives today. Obviously, the scoreline was not a positive at all, but there's still positives. So I think there's a lot that we can learn from, and sometimes when you play a team you know, 2 months apart, sometimes it's hard to remember, you know, exactly what you can use to beat them. But with this one, it's still going to be kind of seared in our heads. So, you know, we'll be looking to make it right down or over in LA.
I know it's hard to celebrate a goal when the final score is what it is, but
Yeah.
just your impression of Xavier Gozo's goal and his willingness to throw himself into
Yeah.
space at the ball.
I mean, obviously the goal is just one thing. I think my impression of him just as a player is he's a great player. He's a great young player. You know, I think the thing that I like about him most is just his willingness and selflessness for the team. You know, he's really willing to do whatever he needs to do to help the team win, which is such a great thing for a young player to have. You know, I think you see a lot of young players that they come up and, you know, they're in the spotlight and all of a sudden they get this ego around them and, you know, they think, you know, they're top dog. But from what I've seen from him, he's, you know, head down. He's humble. He listens to instructions. He wants to learn. He wants to get better. So, you know, I have nothing but great things to say about him. And obviously the goal was a great goal.
It was legitimately confusing for us up in the press box what happened on the red card, and the explanation on the mic didn't quite make sense.
Yeah.
Did they give you any explanation on the field? Can you explain it to fans?
I think they said that he headbutted him. I didn't see it, to be honest, so I don't know. That's, I guess, what he said happened, but I didn't see it.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Thanks, DeAndre.
Thank you. Appreciate it.